Good evening. For more than 40 years, the Painting and Decorating Foundation and the Wall and Ceiling Industry Advancement Fund have been recognizing the achievements of our contractor members through the Finishing Touch Awards. These awards recognize the hard work, determination, and achievement brought to life by the men and women of this industry. Selecting the winners in several of our categories this year was exceedingly difficult. That's how close the competition was. In fact, for the first time in recent memory, the judges deadlocked on certain entries and awarded ties because they just couldn't choose one project over another. As usual, a distinguished panel of industry leaders judged the entries. Randy Fries, former CEO of Simon Painting Company; Charles Bell, Principal, Charles Bell Architects; Tom Finan, Executive Director of the St. Louis Construction Industry Forum; John Buchholz, Apprentice Instructor, Painters District Council 58; Dr. John Gall, former Director of Workforce Development for the Carpenters District Council of St. Louis and Kansas City; and Craig Hood, Director of Training for the Carpenters District Council of St. Louis and Kansas City. Entries were judged on their level of difficulty, attention to detail, implementation of unique designs, and the execution of the craft work involved. And now, the 2019 Finishing Touch Awards. Our categories were expanded this year to include floor finishing, a rapidly growing segment of the industry. And our first winner in this newly created category is Show Me Industrial Services for its resurfacing effort on the concourse level of the Dome at America's Center. The refurbishment of the floors is part of a larger renovation project at the Dome to welcome St. Louis's entry into the XFL, the Battlehawks. The scope of the work called for the installation of 144,000 square feet of vinyl flake epoxy flooring. Show Me Industrial staged the work in 4 separate locations in order to maintain control of mixing and application of the epoxy while operating under a tight 5-week schedule. That meant grinding, prepping, and applying more than 36,000 square feet of finished epoxy each week. The judges were particularly impressed with Show Me Industrial's attention to detail and precision in maintaining color consistency throughout this arduous process. Well done indeed, Show Me Industrial Solutions. Second place in floor finishing is picked up by Paintsmiths of Missouri for its really nice work here at the Moto Museum. Maybe you've noticed the dramatic improvements made to the floors since last year, but if not, take a look around and appreciate the fact that Paintsmiths of Missouri had to perform its task in proximity to more than 100 vintage motorcycles that couldn't be moved. Grinding the old stained floor had to be accomplished with precision and great care prior to the application of the new finish. First, a light-colored base layer was laid down, followed by a second darker coat that had to be applied and blended freehand. Finally, the stain was polished to a semi-gloss sheen, highlighting the color variations that balance the old work with the new. Really nice work by Paintsmiths of Missouri here at the Moto Museum. Third place in floor finishing is claimed by Show Me Industrial Services for its shining epoxy urethane coating system application at Hunter Engineering. Show Me's challenge was to provide a high-impact, chemical-resistant floor in a garage that houses the owner's vintage car collection. Show Me prepped, primed with a vapor control product, applied 2 coats of chemical-resistant epoxy solids, then finished the floor with a high-gloss, UV-resistant urethane top coat. As you can see from the photos, the mirror-like shine achieved by the process was the result of careful planning, execution, and skilled craftsmanship. Well done, Show Me Industrial Services. Our next category this evening is exterior commercial painting, where Thomas Industrial Coatings claims top honors for its 5-year-long project at Busch Stadium. The undertaking called for repairing and repainting all of the exposed structural steel on the stadium, totaling over 1 million square feet. Broken into 11 phases, Thomas Industrial coordinated scheduling and crew mobilization during off-seasons and breaks when the Cardinals were on road trips. Thomas Industrial accessed the work using man lifts, scissor lifts, mobile and stationary scaffolding, and spider baskets on the light towers where man lifts just couldn't reach. All steel was either water-jetted or solvent-wiped prior to the application of coatings. Power tooling was used where any steel was corroded or exposed. After prep, all surfaces were primed with an appropriate primer and then finished with an acrylic siloxane top coat. Coordination, communication, and mobilization were the key components to this outstanding project by Thomas Industrial Coatings. All-American Painting grabbed second place in this category for its skillful performance at the St. Louis Science Center's Planetarium. The planetarium is a hyperboloid structure designed by Gio Obata and built in 1963, and since then has taken its place as an iconic landmark. After years of wear and tear from environmental factors, All-American's crews were tasked with cleaning, repairing, and recoating this architecturally unique structure in Forest Park. Employing 2 JLG boom lifts, All-American's painters set about power washing, patching, and caulking prior to brushing and rolling the new finish coats. All work was accomplished while the Science Center was open to the public, so All-American had to implement safety procedures not only for its crew, but for visitors as well. A job well done by All-American Painting. Let's move into commercial drywall framing now, where TJ Weiss lays claim to the top prize for its breathtaking framing at the State Historical Society building in Columbia. Judge Craig Hood was awestruck by the complexity of the erection of the suspension system employed by TJ's carpenters on the suspended sloping wood veneer ceiling in the reference library. This unique ceiling is not only visually beautiful, but it's also acoustically functional. The bidirectional slope of the ceiling was formed using a drywall suspension grid system. It's covered by micro-perforated linear oak veneer planks that float, unattached to the adjacent walls, above the stacks of bound volumes of Missouri's historical records. Additionally, the project features angled and radius designs throughout, linear light boxes, projector screen and roller shade housings, glass partitions, and soffits and fascias. Another dramatic feature is the uniquely shaped drywall skylight intersection over the stairway. The rounded rectangular soffit gently slopes downward away from the skylight, flowing seamlessly into the ceiling flanking the stairs. Award-winning work indeed by TJ Weiss. A close second-place finish in commercial drywall framing is claimed by Niehaus Building Services for its inspiring work at Boeing's Horizon X facility in Cortex. The complexity of this project literally left our judges scratching their heads as to how to categorize it. Was it drywall work, or EIFS plaster work, or decorative automotive film work? Well, ultimately they agreed it was framing work, and unique is what it is. This design incorporates Boeing's aviation past, present, and future. Everywhere you look, you see radius walls, curvilinear projections, recesses, and reveals. Windows that look rectangular on the outside are framed as ovals on the inside to mimic those of an airliner. Interior demising walls are furred out to provide for curves, slopes, angles, and LED lighting reveals. Conference rooms, nicknamed marshmallow rooms, are formed using EPS foam blocks cut with a CNC router. The lobby features what Boeing calls a liquid metal ceiling hung from a drywall grid suspension system. Niehaus is exceedingly proud of its past, but it took a giant step into the future on this project. Wow. Our first tie of the evening comes for third place in drywall framing. The judges just couldn't choose a clear winner between D&L Painting and Drywall for Innovation Halls, Restaurant and Cafe, and TJ Weiss for Mizzou's new South End Zone facility. D&L's Innovation Hall Restaurant and Cafe project in Cortex features some really nice curving partitions, off-angle walls, and soffits. Additionally, D&L's team built out an auditorium, market, lounge, and conference rooms within the project. Layout of the framing was facilitated using lasers communicating with the architectural CAD files. High-tech stuff from D&L Painting and Drywall. TJ Weiss tied for third in this segment for framing work at the University of Missouri's new South End Zone multipurpose facility. One time-saving method employed during construction was TJ's prefabrication of trapezoidal light soffits, built on the floor and lifted into place 25 feet above after the framing, electrical, drywall, and taping was done. Nice work indeed, TJ Weiss. TJ Weiss also picks up an honorable mention for the work it performed on the new Fulton State Hospital. The design of the hospital incorporates radius soffits and walls, sloped ceilings, and a unique slotted drywall product that allows for light projection and diffusion from above the board. When it came to soffits and ceilings, TJ's carpenters prefabbed the framing and board hanging on the ground, and lifted them into place. More skilled work on display by TJ Weiss. Let's turn our attention to the residential interior painting segment now and admire John Bender's first place award for the treatments performed on this home on Clay Price Court. Bender's painters began with a level 5 joint compound application on the drywall and meticulously sanded the base coat and suction equalizer prior to painting. Color selection and matching was done in close coordination with the homeowner to ensure the correct outcome. Highly specialized millwork throughout the house was custom painted, including shiplap in the kitchen and bath, bunk beds, bookcases, shelving, a boot bench, and seating in dining areas. In the hearthroom, it was prepped and whitewashed. Custom blended stain was used for the staircase, wall caps, and the bowling ball return. The what? Oh yeah, there's a bowling alley in the basement of this house. All wainscoting, windows, beams, and raw wood surfaces were primed and stained in satin finish. John Bender was proud of the work they performed on Clay Price Court, and we're proud to award them first place in this category. John Bender also picks up an honorable mention for the exterior painting on this same house on Clay Price Court. Bender's team painted all the fiberboard panels, trims, overhangs, and fascias, battling poor weather conditions and rough grade all along the way. Stone chimney chases were treated to prevent leaks. All cracks, openings, and penetrations were sealed with caulk prior to painting with high-quality latex satin. Color selection of the coatings involved the owner at every step. Custom stain was applied to timbers, doors, and cantilever supports. Very nice work indeed by John Bender Painting and Drywall. Our winner in residential wall covering this year is Painting Solutions for its treatments at Harbison House on the Washington University campus. Built as a private residence in 1912, Harbison House has served as the official residence of the university's chancellor since 1958. Despite a number of renovations over the years, much of the home retains its original plaster, trim, and moldings, all of which was to remain intact during this latest renovation. Painting Solutions was charged with removal of the existing wall coverings, prepping all wall surfaces, and installation of new paint and wall coverings per specifications. The three-story house encompasses 15,000 square feet, featuring 10 new fabric wall coverings that were meticulously sized, trimmed, and installed with no margin for error. The formal dining room, which took 80 hours to prep, lay out, and install, features a beautiful hand-painted silk covering. Each piece of wall covering was custom made for each location with zero tolerance for error and/or waste. The judges were exceedingly impressed with the level of precision and skill with which Painting Solutions overcame its challenges to produce this wonderful wall covering display at Harbison House. Let's head back to commercial drywall now and discover that Niehaus Building Services grabs top honors for its tremendous finishing accomplishments at Boeing's Horizon X facility in Cortex. Earlier, we mentioned that this job blended the talents of 3 different disciplines to create the owner's abstract vision. This project was unlike anything Niehaus has ever undertaken in its 100-year-plus existence. The melding of drywall practices with those of EIFS work and acrylic automotive finishes and films for a client in the aerospace industry just doesn't happen every day. Niehaus contracted the services of a CNC router operator to shape blocks of expanded polystyrene foam driven by a computer-aided design software. Then layer upon layer of base coat materials provided the surface needed for the application of the various finishes. The finished product is truly fantastically futuristic. From the jetliner-style window openings to the marshmallow rooms to the liquid metal ceiling, the job shouts wow. The level of pre-planning, material selection, coordination of tasks and trades, and the craftsmanship to pull it all off is a remarkable achievement by Niehaus Building Services. Second place in drywall finishing is garnered by D&L Painting and Drywall for the work it performed on the Innovation Hall Restaurant and Cafe. One of the most difficult challenges for a taper is dealing with a large amount of natural light washing a wall surface. Taping compound is a thin, unforgiving layer that can easily transmit imperfections in the drywall to the surface, creating modeling and shadowing in the finished product. Given the conditions at Innovation Hall, the judges kept a sharp lookout for such imperfections. What they actually saw were smooth, blemish-free surfaces and crisp, sharp angles and radiuses. Finished on time and on budget, Innovation Hall stands as a testament to the capabilities of D&L Painting and Drywall. Good job. Third place in drywall finishing produced another tie, with TJ Weiss tying TJ Weiss for their projects at the Fulton State Hospital and the South End Zone facilities at the University of Missouri. The new Fulton State Hospital project was an overdue upgrade to this state-run mental health facility. The new design incorporates better acoustics, a more conventional hospital feel, and other design elements that make it feel less institutional. Adding to that feel, TJ's Tapers perform their part of the process with precision and professionalism. A job well done. TJ's other third-place finish is for the work performed at the new South End Zone facility at Faurot Field in Columbia. In addition to sloped ceilings, curved walls, stepped light rings, TJ also prefabbed the trapezoidal light soffits hung from the ceiling, creating a dramatic lighting effect. As TJ's submission points out, our skilled people know the importance of a job well done. We strive to give our customers the best product available. Work hard, have fun. TJ Weiss. Let's jump back into residential now, where John Bender Incorporated wins first place for its taping excellence at a private residence in Town and Country. This residence is bursting with elegant design characteristics. Starting with the radius dome in the entry foyer, we're led to a sweeping staircase, then to the groin vault ceiling in a hallway, and then a ceiling with dormer windows in the study. This home, too, features a bowling alley in the lower level. John Bender was quick to point out the pride its tapers exhibit in the quality of the work they perform, and our judges were happy to agree. The attention to detail is apparent at every turn, from the multiple floor-to-ceiling heights, the arched passageways, and the seamless transitions that exactly flow with the curvature of staircases and rounded partitions. It's said that a true craftsperson can make the most difficult thing look easy. Well, the taping in this house doesn't look easy, it looks hard, but it's virtually flawless as well. Bravo, John Bender Incorporated. Our first place winner in commercial interior painting is Painting Solutions for its outstanding work at the Gatesworth Senior Living Center near Clayton. This project was a combination renovation and a new construction effort that remodeled 45 memory care rooms and added a 4-floor, 88-unit new assisted living facility with all the amenities. The new space features gathering lounges, a library, theater, media room, billiards and game room, atrium dining room, cafe, spa, and hair salon. While the palette tends toward the neutral, more than 30 different colors of paint in various sheens were actually utilized. The judges expressed their appreciation for the sharp, crisp delineations between paint colors. Additionally, nearly 10 miles of wood base, crown molding, window and door casing, chair rail, and handrail were painted in advance of installation. Everything in this building looks fresh, clean, and brand new, just like it should. Very impressive work indeed by Painting Solutions. Bazan Painting is our second place finisher in this category for its work at Weil Hall at Washington U. Part of the Sam Fox School of Design and Visual Arts, the newly constructed Annabeth and John Weil Hall is home to state-of-the-art graduate studios, classrooms, and digital fabrication spaces. The building, designed by renowned architects Kieran Timberlake, features lots of natural light and flexible loft-style studios. In its description of the challenges presented by the project, Bazan merely wrote, "The architect was requiring perfection." Well, that's an unattainable bar, but Bazan's crew gave it their best shot. The work is neat, clean, and professionally delivered. In all, over 85,000 square feet of walls, ceilings, doors, frames, base trim, stairs, and rooftop screening were finished. This is very nice work and deserving of recognition for Bazan Painting. The judges gave Joseph Ward Painting an honorable mention for its interior treatments at Mizzou's South End Zone project in Columbia. The 4-story structure that houses the Missouri Tigers football program includes a strength training facility, locker rooms, coaches, and equipment rooms. The field level features the membership-only Tiger Club, individual luxury suites, and club seats. Level 3 provides access to restrooms, concessions, and outside seating. Level 4 is basically reserved for coaches trying to figure out how to beat Wyoming, Vanderbilt, and Kentucky. Joseph Ward dispatched a crew of 23 painters to accomplish their mission in mid-Missouri, which they did with professionalism and pride. Let's turn our attention to commercial wall covering now, where Painting Solutions claims top honors for its wonderful execution at the Kemper Museum of Art at Washington University. The Kemper is a hidden gem in St. Louis, hosting exhibits by some of the world's most talented artists. Painting Solutions was commissioned to install custom wall covering murals created by an artist whose latest works would also be exhibited in the space. Given just 2 weeks to complete, Painting Solutions laid out and hung the murals on walls up to 33 feet high. Each panel was full length, could not be cut, there were no random repeats, and there was no margin for mistakes. Working from 2 lifts simultaneously, Painting Solutions was able to successfully hang the murals within the time frame allotted. If zero tolerance wasn't enough pressure, time-lapse video of the installation recorded the work as it progressed. Photographs of the work were also included in a book to be sold at the exhibit premiere. Cool work by Painting Solutions. The judges awarded second place in commercial wall covering to Painting Solutions for its display at the Gatesworth Senior Living Center. As we mentioned earlier, the Gatesworth project was multifaceted with renovation of an existing space and the construction of a new assisted living facility. The new space features 88 units and lifestyle amenities, including lounges, theater media room, atrium dining room, and a billiards room. The wall covering installation was crisp and clean, displaying sharp external and re-entrant angles. All in all, a very nice presentation of the abilities of Painting Solutions. In the past, we've described industrial painting as the most logistically challenging in our industry. But this year, our winner, Thomas Industrial Coatings, brings new meaning to the term logistically challenging in this project for the U.S. Navy in Sasebo, Japan. Concrete fuel tank Y7 at Yokose was relined with carbon steel some 40 years ago and was in dire need of a complete makeover. That's when TIC's team swung into action, calculating not only job estimation, but also logistics, personnel movements, relocation, and long-range forecasting for a crew move to Japan. From the time Thomas's team was ordered to mobilize, it took 60 days to get men and material to the job site. 21 days alone just across the Pacific. Whatever Thomas needed, they brought it with them from here in the U.S., even the coatings. All work was performed under stringent U.S. government specifications that not only require worker certifications, but also constant monitoring and testing of environmental impact and quality control. Thomas Industrial grit blasted and recoated all the walls and floors, the columns that support the dome roof, 188 of them, each 2 feet in diameter, were also blasted and coated. The work Thomas performed on this 38-foot tall, 280-foot diameter fuel tank would have been impressive enough if it was done in this country. When it's done 14 time zones away, it's mind-boggling. Whoa! Thomas Industrial Coating. Thomas Industrial also picks up second place for its monumental work, this time in the Central Time Zone, on the Poplar Street Bridge downtown. The nearly half-mile-long span required virtually all of Thomas's expertise in working in adverse conditions, managing lead paint removal, and working in confined spaces. You might remember that the eastbound lanes of the bridge had to be moved 9 feet to the south to accommodate construction of another traffic lane. All painters on the bridge held federal and state certifications to do their work. Thomas's crews installed a safe span platform to access the de-leading work on the bridge and also provided a safe work area for other trades as well. Work on the 15-foot tall box girders triggered Thomas's confined space safety monitoring program. Lower on the bridge, work was accessed by man lifts staged on spud barges in the river, requiring daily contact with the Coast Guard. At several points during the renovation, work was suspended due to rising river levels that closed the river channel. Despite all the obstacles, Thomas Industrial Coatings completed the renovation of the Poplar Street Bridge with its usual skill and dedication. The industrial painting segment has also produced another third-place tie, this time between Bazan Painting and Thomas Industrial Coatings. Bazan's work at the Millwood Water Treatment Plant's settling basin earned the judges' praise for coordination and level of difficulty. Located in Texarkana, Arkansas, the settling basin is an integral part of the water cleaning process, and a new lining was needed. It seems the 35-year-old basin has been patched on numerous occasions, without long-lasting results. Well, Bazan's painters went about their task in their usual professional manner, prepping and installing a heavy-duty spray-applied liner to the concrete substrate. The judges appreciated the level of workmanship Bazan put forth on the Millwood Water Treatment Plant in Texarkana. Thomas Industrial's 27-month-long project for the Minnesota Department of Transportation on the East Grand Forks Bridge over the Red River was recognized for its ability to perform its duties and overcome hostile environmental conditions. Thomas's job was to surface prep and recoat the bridge's 250,000 square feet of structural steel, sometimes in sub-zero temperatures. Thomas Industrial pays tribute to its painters in its submission by saying, "This job solidifies the respect we have for our team of painters, utilizing the necessary skills and equipment in adverse conditions to meet project timelines are characteristics that define a company." Well said and well done, Thomas Industrial Coatings. Two community service projects demonstrating outreach and goodwill are recognized by the Finishing Touch Awards this year. We'd like to share those feel-good projects with you. Bazan Painting donated its time and talents, with Sherwin-Williams donating materials, to the Officer Blake Snyder Golf Tournament. In 2016, Officer Snyder was shot to death as he responded to a disturbance call in South St. Louis County. Since then, friends and supporters host the annual golf tournament to honor the fallen officer. This year, Bazan honored Officer Snyder by painting a thin blue line flag on a hillside overlooking the golf course. Bazan's donation to the outing could well be described as above and beyond the call. Meanwhile, in Jefferson County, Thomas Industrial Coatings departed nearly 180 degrees from its usual mammoth undertakings to refurbish and repaint a pair of existing propane tanks for a deserving Jeffco neighbor. Hazardous conditions on this project were limited to a swarm of yellow jackets, so Thomas's painters suited up in beekeeping attire in order to renovate the tanks to extend their service life. The woman recipient of Thomas's goodwill showed her appreciation by delivering a batch of homemade cookies to Thomas's office. Nice. Well, that's our program. Thank you to our contracting community, whose skill and reputation is recognized far and wide. Thank you for your dedication and continuing pursuit of excellence. Thank you also to the trade members of Painters District Council 58 and the Carpenters District Council of St. Louis and Kansas City. Yours are the standards by which others are judged. As always, our deep appreciation to our supplier members for their support, service, and assistance. And now for the presentation of our awards, Mr. Tom Finan of the St. Louis Construction Industry Forum.